Yo, what up, man? Chris, I'm checking in, man, back with the vlog, man. Make sure to like button, subscribe button, and I appreciate all the support, man. Salute. I'm a little still under the weather, but I'm bringing you guys content, man. I'm getting better. But, we do have a response from Goodz. He finally did a blog. You know what I'm saying? He did a blog, addressed some things, addressed the Steve Madden situation, addressed Jae Millz, addressed the fans, addressed the haters, addressed the slick walks and everything. He addressed some things. So what kind of guy would I be if I didn't react to it, man? So here we have right here, man. Good. Let's see what he say, man.
Nation. You see, I wasn't blogging. I wasn't doing none of that because I was focused on this battle. I was in that studio locked in. So I didn't want to do no blogs, none of that. I let him go between, do blogs and try to change your mind on things. One thing I realized about this whole thing is this. When you going against a lame, you going against a million lames. You going against a million haters, right? So I'm not just going against him. I'm going against everybody that hates on me out loud, everybody that hates on me on the low. Everybody comes out, right? But
right, so I talk a lot about media training, man. I feel like it's one of the most important things, and it's easy to be media trained when things are going well, but how are you media trained when things are not going well? So first you call Millz a lame. Now I don't know, maybe Millz is a lame. I don't really know. I don't know Millz, never met him a day in my life. I don't know anything about Millz, right? However, you did have Millz on your show. Why would you have a lame on your show? Millz pulled up to your shop so that you could do an interview for his show. Why would you do an interview for a lame? These are the questions I got to ask. Clearly, y'all have each other's phone numbers. Clearly, y'all have been somewhat cool because early on the podcast, y'all was like, this is my man, this is my man. And then when he had the battle with Geechee Gotti, there's a video outside where you're like, yo, let me holler at my mans and see what he think about my battle. And he pulls you to the side and you are critiquing him and you're saying that you're critiquing him because this is your mans and you want him to get better and all this kind of stuff. So it's a lot of, this is my man's, and there's a lot of that going on. Why would your man be a lame, though? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying your man can't be a lame. He can be a lame. I'm just asking questions. When did Millz become a lame? The other thing you said was, you was like, what did you say? You said you're dealing with a lot of haters. I don't view you, Goodz, as being one of the most hated battlers. Maybe easy. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple people that you could put in that category. You know what I'm saying? I think people hate on Hitman more than they hate on Goodz. Easy more than they hate on Goodz. Snake Eyes more than they hate on Goodz. Just trying to think of some people that's in the spotlight or whatever. It's a few battle rappers I would put there that probably get a little bit more hate than Goodz does. But I don't really view Goodz as like a battle rap. You don't battle enough, bro. I don't really view you when you drop comments on Twitter and comments on your Instagram. It's not a lot of niggas on your comment section grinding you up. I don't see that. So I wouldn't necessarily say, and your YouTube channel is through the roof too. You know what I'm saying? About 80,000 subscribers, something like that. So I don't view you as really having a lot of haters. So I don't really think that that's an accurate characterization, but let's continue.
Let me say this though. I stopped everything I was doing. All the business shit I be doing, I stopped all of that to give y'all a great battle. I stopped all that, locked in the studio to give y'all a great battle.
Now, whether you have Goodz winning or losing the battle, I'm proud that he came outside. I'm proud that he actually engaged. I'm proud that he was involved. Let's keep it real. Did we really think we were going to get more videos from Goodz than DNA? I didn't. DNA gave us 3 videos or 3 tracks or whatever. I did not think Goodz would give us 6. Now, there might be a reason why he did 6, but we can at least say he was trying. You know what I'm saying? We at least say he was engaged. At least say he was giving effort. I will give you that point. Let's continue. I'm a man fair. I'll keep it real.
Word. So to everybody that rock with me or my supporters, that's who I did it for. I stopped everything for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Another reason I did this is because I'm tired of y'all saying battle rappers can't make music. Y'all put that stigma on people, on the battle rappers. Y'all do that.
So how do we put the stigma on battle rappers that y'all don't make music? I feel like that's what the industry does. I feel like the people in the industry don't respect battle rappers in their music. I think the battle rap fans are the only ones that really respect battle rappers' music, because we're willing to listen to it. We'll listen to something that Hitman puts out. We'll listen to something that Goodz puts out. We'll listen to something that Surf puts out, or Twerk, or whatever. It's the battle rap fans. The problem is the industry ain't caught up to y'all niggas. That's why y'all niggas can't get deals and can't get put on. It's not really the battle rap fans that are saying battle rappers can't. I feel like it comes from industry niggas. Like niggas that's already out saying, yo, them battle rap niggas, they cool, but all they can do is battle. Not really the fans.
Stop saying battle rappers can't make music. Y'all put that stigma on battle rappers and try to keep us in the same place, and it be the same people from battle rap that does it. All right? Another thing. I'm thinking he gonna drop some crazy big news and everything gonna be. Nah, bro. The sneaker thing wasn't it. So, for the people, because I know y'all don't know the business of sneakers and how this work, and I'm going to break stuff down very quick so y'all can know. When you doing a sneaker, right, they got set molds, or you can come with your own creation of the sneaker, right? So let's take my oil spills, for example. My oil spills you won't find, because that's something we kind of drew up and put together ourselves. We drew that up, and that was our own creation, right? So you won't find those. Now we go to the fusions. The fusions is a mold that they have. So they'll send you a bunch of different molds, and you can pick a mold you want, right? What sells the sneaker itself is the brand, okay? So my people buy my sneakers because of the Slick Walk brand, right? So everybody got sneaker dudes. Everybody got access to the same mold, the same molds. If you want to pick that mold, right? You put your logos on it. You might change something a little different, and you get that mold, right? So with Steve Madden, let's say Steve Madden picked the same mold as me. Now, what Steve Madden does is they copy a lot of sneakers. That's Steve Madden's style. Shout out to Steve Madden. That's a multi-million-dollar company, right? Steve Madden can sell their sneaker for $50, let's say, because they're a multi-million-dollar company. That's a machine behind that. Me, I'm one person. I'm one person doing everything myself. So I'm going in my pocket, paying for my sneakers to be made. So in order for me to basically not be giving people the sneakers for free away, I have to up my price on the sneaker because I'm a smaller company.
So I'm not going to act like I know a lot about selling shoes or molds or anything like that. And I'm not even saying that what Goodz is saying isn't true. Maybe there are a lot of molds, and maybe people pick different molds and do different things, and that could be true. But you're not going to be able to sell fans on the fact, because you kind of said, I think you said Steve Madden picked the same mold as me. Let me see if I can go back.
Not a paying for a machine. Steve Madden can sell. Now, what Steve Madden does is something a little different, and you get that mold, right? So with Steve Madden, let's say Steve Madden picked the same mold as me. Now, with Steve Madden
picked the same mold as me. People aren't going to really go for that. Even if that's true, they'll go for you pick the same mold as Steve Madden. They not going to go from Steve Madden is biting you. They'll go to you biting Steve Madden. That's just the way it goes. He's been around longer. He's been doing shoes longer. You ain't been doing slick walks nearly as long as they've been doing Steve Madden shoes. So even if you did pick that mold before him and somehow Steve Madden is biting you or whoever else, people are going to always believe the other way, that Steve Madden was first or one of the first people and that you originated from that. You're probably not going to be able to change that narrative. And it ain't so much about like this sneaker thing about moles and picking this and all that. This could possibly be true. I don't necessarily know. Y'all shoes are just way too similar, bro. Like way too similar. Like, I don't know. It just just way too similar. Maybe you got to do a video and you got to show a whole bunch of brands and different shoes and show how similar they are for people to kind of rationalize how easy it is to get into to have a shoe and have 5 different people with the same shoe with just a different logo on it. Maybe you have to do that because people are not going to understand that. And at the end of the day, Goodz, you cannot sell your sneaker for $159. I don't give a damn if you a small sneaker company, if you are this, and Madden sells his sneaker for $50. You cannot do that. Even if he's able to do it just because of mass reproduction and all this kind of stuff, or buying in bulk and he's able to get a discount, regardless of the fact, the battle rap community is always going to look at, we think, or most people are going to think, you got your model from Steve Madden, and most people will think you marked it up crazy. And if you're only able to buy a handful of shoes because you're a small company, and if you are picking molds of other shoes or whatever the case may be, then you don't really have a real company per se. You more so got to hustle. There's a difference between a business. And I mean, you get an LLC for anything. You know what I'm saying? I can get an LLC for this napkin if I want to. I can pay the money, get an LLC called White Napkins, Chris Somebody's White Napkins Inc. And they'll give me an LLC. You can get an LLC for anything. Do you have a real shoe company? Meaning, and I'm being fair. This is not me talking ish about Goodz at all. Goodz is just in the algorithm. When Jae Millz showed y'all in the store, he panned up, there was like 1 or 2 sneakers up there. There's not really any sneakers in that particular Slick Walk store. When you do a lot of Instagram videos, you be like, oh, I got such and such pair. If you need a pair, DM me. It's a lot of DMing, not so much like, I mean, I'm saying, you know, you said you got an app. I've never been on your app. I don't necessarily know. But I don't know if you got like a website where niggas can just go on there and just order like 5 pairs of Slick Walks. I don't know. Maybe you got that. I've never been on a Slick Walk website. But my point is, if you just got a handful of sneakers that niggas can just buy from you through DMs or just meeting you somewhere and you'll give them a size 10, you more so got to hustle. And I had to realize that with the trucking business too. Like, okay, you're calling yourself a trucking business, but you only got 1 truck. So yeah, you got a truck and you drive around. Do you got a business or do you got a hustle? And then it turns into a business when I buy more trucks. When I buy more trucks and I get an employee and I start doing this and I get more employees and I start doing this kind of stuff. Then it goes from like a business, just a hustle, to more like a business. And I feel like with Slick Walks, Steve Madden is a business, and I'm starting to wonder if yours is just a hustle, because it looks like you're more so selling shoes to just motherfuckers that just fuck with you, as instead of just, I'm just really getting it out there. I'm buying Instagram ads and I'm going crazy with the Slick Walks. So that would just be my only critique of you. Whether, even if everything you say is true, people at the end of the day will always feel like Steve Madden has been here longer. And that shoe is just too common to that Steve Madden shoe. And people are just going to say it's copied. And not only is it, see, one thing, if you like them Steve Madden shoes, right? And you was like, you know what, man, I'm tired of niggas buying this white company shoes or whatever and blowing them up and getting them rich or whatever the case may be. They selling these Steve Madden shoes. These some basic shoes that I can go to China and make or whatever. But they selling these shoes for $119. And I'm like, I could create an LLC, get the materials, figure out who can make shoes, design, do all this. I can make this exact same shoe and it's going to be just as good. It won't say Steve Madden on it, but it'll be just as good. I'll call it Slick Walks. And instead of $119, I'll sell it for $39.99. That's kind of what Shaq did. Shaq started having them shoes that came out. They weren't Nike Air. They were like Dunks and they were Shaq. And what his moniker was, I'm going to make them affordable. Everybody can afford Air Jordans. I'll make my shoes affordable. The difference is your shoes are similar to the to the Steve Madden shoes, but they're way more expensive. So you can't even use I saw this shoe. I figured I'm only buying this shoe at this price because of the name. I can make this whole shoe and sell it for $40. Matter of fact, I'm going to do it and call it Slick Walks and come up with my own company and make it affordable. It's not going to work if your shoe is 3 times Steve Madden's price. It's not going to work. And I'm not saying that. Maybe you sell shoes. Don't get me wrong. But what Jae Millz did is a big exposure for you, bro, whether you want to admit it or not. It is. Even if he's off base. Perception can sometimes be reality. It doesn't even matter if Jae Millz is right or if it makes sense or he don't understand the sneaker business. At the end of the day, a nigga would never be able to understand why a Slick Walk shoe is more expensive than a Steve Madden shoe. They're not going to be able to rationally wrap their brain around it. Even if you give them 1,000,000 times, Steve Madden buy in bulk, I buy less quantities so therefore it's more expensive. They're not going to wrap their mind around your shoe is $159 and his shoe is $59. They're not going to wrap their mind around it. So maybe you got to figure out whether or not this hustle shoe business you got is really worth it at the end of the day. And I don't know, maybe yourself, maybe people, and I don't know, maybe people would just buy them because they fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? I do know some niggas in this culture right now that bought Slick Walks just because Goodz, they fuck with you as a battle rapper. And they said, I'll buy your shoe. They may wear them 1 or 2 times, but they like, I still want to say I support it. Let's carry on.
Just put me in a bag that I haven't been in. I had wild fun doing this. And the funny thing is, I wasn't going to entertain it. And Mac came me, nah, because you can't, you got to. And I'm like, I'm not entertaining that shit. And I'm glad I did. Because that shit was so fun. This shit was wild fun. Yo, I was going in the studio, sipping the Henny privilege again, recording. You know how fun that shit was? I got to be an artist again. Not a businessman, but an artist. That shit was super dope, super fun. Just stop putting a stigma on battle rappers saying they can't make music. Y'all push that and y'all make people believe that. When I feel like I just proved battle rappers can make music. I feel like I proved that.
So this goes back to media training. If you know that a lot of people are grinding you up or having their things to say, you got to stop using I, because DNA had good songs. Jae Millz had good songs. Say we, bro. We prove that we can make good music, because people don't really view your tracks as the better tracks. They think Jae Millz won the battle. So to say I prove that battle rappers can make music, then what did Jae Millz and DNA do? We is more appropriate. And the media training is important, dog, because it's how you get back in the good graces of people. You got to show a little bit of explaining yourself mixed in with some humility. It's always important. So it's not I prove that we can do records. It's we. Let's go.
Another thing there's a whole bunch of other things, but I got a indication on my phone that popped up today. I'm going to put it in here. Where Jae Millz actually went on my site and left a bad review and put 1 star on one of my leathers. Now, my leathers is high-end brand, right? But he put a bad review. Now, that's something a bitter girl would do. And I'm...
Okay, so Jae Millz did go on his site and he put a review up. It says, Jae Millz left a 1-star review for burnt orange. I guess this is a leather left. A 1-star, let me see. I want a refund. These are cheap Hudson leather and you sell scam walks or whatever. I can't read the rest of the message, but this is what it is. So Jae Millz did go on there and leave this comment right here at the bottom. Let's get back to what Goodz say.
Yeah, bro, that's some... I'm not... We battled. We did this back and forth. With me, it's rap. It was fun. I'm never gonna go on that far. Like, that's something when you don't answer the phone for a girl and you stop messing with her, she get mad and do stuff like set your clothes on fire and try to bring down everything you do. That's like a bitter ex-wife.
Do y'all think Millz went too far? This has been a little bit of a topic lately. Is Millz going too far? You can never really judge a person's level of disrespect. Obviously, he feels like he was disrespected and y'all disrespected his name. He probably feels like he was lined up in the battle. And then he feels like he comes on the podcast and he felt like maybe he was getting lined up. I will say this, though. In the diss track battle, you did bring up his wife. Now, you didn't diss her, but you bring your wife out on tour with you. You know, you was the only nigga on Young Money bringing out your wife. You know, you had the Stan song about how did your wife feel.
Do your girl like you how you are? I know you always cut her off in the middle of her thoughts. I'm just saying, maybe she just like you from afar. You did say when y'all argue, you smoke blunts in your garage.
Millz did a blog and he says, so you want to bring my wife into this? And maybe Millz felt like gloves are off now. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about whatever. We're going to do whatever. Clearly, maybe y'all are playing chess and he's playing checkers. Clearly, he's trying to ruin the entire Goodz brand. Now, do I think it'll work? No. I don't think you can ruin anybody, really, in battle rap that has a following. You can't get rid of none of these niggas at the end of the day. But Millz is he has kind of the most to gain in this situation. He can gain more of a following. He can gain more of a buzz. He got bloggers supporting what he's doing. He can ruin y'all. It's all content. It all keeps niggas in the algorithm. And unfortunately, y'all are on the negative side of the algorithm. So y'all not going to get a lot of sympathy in this, even though, do I think it's too far putting a 1-star review on there? Maybe so. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, people are going to be like, well, you brought his wife into the battle. And even though you didn't diss his wife per se, you still brought her in there. And people will be like, yo, I thought it was just about us. Why are you talking about my wife and our arguments that we may have or whatever? So he's going to feel like the gloves are off. I could talk about whatever. And in a battle, man, y'all at war, bro. All is fair is love and war.
Remember, I did this independent by myself with an up-and-coming producer. Shout out to Merritt. An up-and-coming producer. Word. Hold on, and Ron. I don't got no issue with Ron. Ron did my last single, right? But to say people like my producers not being original, AI is not original. This is the art of war. I peeped what y'all was doing and rebutted it.
Well, I mean, if you peep what he was doing and rebutted it, then that isn't being original. I ain't knocking it. Like, had you redid or used an AI sound and it sounded better than Jae Millz' song, I would be like, oh yeah, this shit is fire. But when you go that route, it's like anything else. A rebuttal in a battle can work or fail. And if people feel like your track isn't good enough, even if you use what Ron Browz's sound or whatever, or the AI sound, if it's not good enough, people are gonna then say it wasn't better than Jae Millz, and then they're gonna be like, oh, he Steven stole Jae Millz' style. They'll do that. They will do that. It's just like if a nigga battle Lux and he starts trying to rap like Lux. You can be like, oh, I'm using your style. It's cool until it doesn't work. It didn't work with Twerk in the battle. It worked a little bit better when Clips battled Lux.
Do you know I actually tied my shoe in a perfect knot so the world wouldn't see my sneaker sliding? And I took a trip to Africa, dug deeper in the earth's surface, but couldn't reap a diamond. Oh, he wasn't being honest. And Beasley, Smack is not that good at keeping timing. I know y'all want him to keep the rhyming and beat a giant, but this is the part tonight where David have to beat Goliath. Hey, listen, beloved. Listen, beloved. I'm going back to my Lion Den days. The days that made me a beast. When you rock me, break the rock apart. Felt like a dame Chris, maybe your niece. Or they was calling you Jay-Z unique. Oh, but you went from Jay-Z to Bleak in maybe a week. Ironic how them back-to-back losses turned you from a Drake to a Meek.
It worked better when Clips did it. That shit is just not gonna always work, bro. And if it don't work, unfortunately, the scrutiny is way more heavier for it. But yeah, Merrick City did he didn't, like, yeah, we know he didn't, like, AI can go for anybody. It's not a Ron Browz's style. Like, AI can be used by other producers, and Ron Browz isn't the first one either. But in a war, Ron Browz was going that route first, and if Merrick City goes that route, it just better be better, or niggas will always be to say, not only was it not better, but you stole my style. That's just, you open up that angle in order to do that. And that's just what it is, bro.
That's the art of war. I watched what y'all was doing and rebutted it. That's it. AI is not an original thing. Anybody can go and make an AI hook. That's all it was. And I tell you the real, that's all it was. I would have loved to not do that and just rapped. That's what I do. I would have loved to not do that and just rapped.
You rap, bro. You don't gotta do what Jae Millz do in any battle. You act like you gotta do that. That's another reason. This is like one of the most important things that you said. You said you would love to have just rapped. Well, why weren't you able to just rap? Maybe people felt the raps weren't enough. So that's kind of like saying that you didn't win because you felt like your raps weren't enough. So you had to do that. Let me hear this again.
That's it. AI is not an original thing. Anybody can go and make an AI hook. That's all it was. And I tell you the real, that's all it was. I would have loved to not do that and just rapped. That's what I do. I would have loved to not do that and just rapped.
You can.
Right? I went against the masses. I went against a platinum producer and Millz rapping with a platinum producer. That's what I went against. Me and my up-and-coming producer. The thing is, I'm never going to fall. I don't think y'all understand that. To nobody.
All right, so that's where we are, man. Goodz has responded. I'm glad he finally hopped on camera, though. I think he probably should have gave Millz a little bit more credit. You know what I'm saying? Announced that I would have loved for him to hop on here and just say, I would have loved for him to hop on here and do what DNA did. DNA said, he gave Millz his credit. He said, yo, I like this joint he did. You know, that the joint he did, you know, DNA, we never been outside. He in the blog with Uncle Ra, he said he liked the song. He said he felt like this could have been better or that could have been better. He felt like he might have won 2-1 or something, or it's real close. He critiqued it, and then you know what he said? Yeah, I'm done with the tracks, man. It's time to battle. I wish Goodz would say that. Give credit. It doesn't matter that he has a platinum producer, bro. That's not going to work. Like, oh, he had Ron Browz and I only had Merrick City. You know why? Because you are the money guy. You're the money guy, which means you can go get a person even bigger than Ron Browz. How can Jae Millz get Ron Browz if Jae Millz is broke? You keep telling me he broke. If he broke, then why you got to get the up-and-comer? The broke nigga should get the up-and-comer, and you should be going to get Ron Browz, the platinum producer. You got the money, right? That's why the argument won't work, bro. Because if he stepped it up and got a better producer, or he had Hype Williams direct his videos or whatever, the great Hype Williams from back in the day, then you just got to go to that level or admit defeat. Go to that level or admit defeat. I wish you would have just got on here and said who you thought won, gave credit, and said, yo, I think I won. I got 6 diss tracks, I only did 3. I think I won. But I battled a nigga, though. That's what people want to hear. That's how you just get back to regular scheduled program. You get on here, you say whether you won or lost, you give some credit, but you still take some credit from niggas and whatever. You still do that. Like, yeah, he was cool here, but nah, y'all gassing this. This song right here wasn't all that. It was okay. Oh, but that turn off the lights, that was fire. All that was cool. You do all that. And then you know what you say? It's time to battle. It's time to battle. Now, I stepped in your lane. Get back in my lane now. Let's battle. Let's call URL and let's battle. Let's call TBL and let's battle. Because niggas is telling me that I don't know. Niggas is hitting me up saying you might not even want to battle. Like saying that you might not even want to do the battle. And people not gonna want to hear that, bro. They not gonna want I'm not saying people are clamoring for you and Jae Millz battle, but people definitely not gonna be like, oh, okay, I just battled Swamp. Like, no, you gonna battle Twerk? Twerk got like 4 battles he ain't done yet. Like niggas ain't trying to battle Twerk right now. Get your bag with Jae Millz. Get your lick back. I'm pretty sure you can win the battle. I do still feel like you're clearly the better battler than Jae Millz. I think you can win the battle, and that's all that matters. That's how you get it back. And at the end of the day, y'all look at this a year later and be like, you might have won on beat, but I won in the battle. And we got a bag off of it. To do all of this and not get a bag is even more crazier, Goodz. To do all of this and then don't get a bag off of it is even crazier. You can't say that he's not worthy and do 6 diss tracks. You can't say he's not worthy and do a blog explaining yourself like you're doing right now. You can't say he's not worthy and you be like, oh, I was just locked in. I wasn't even worried about it. I cut down all my businesses. I cut off all my businesses and just locked in. You cannot do all that for a nigga who's not worthy. The way y'all talk about how y'all had to prepare for this proves that he was worthy. Now go get a bag.
Chris, bias. Man, subscribe to the channel, man. Don't be a hater your whole life. Chris, bias.